He woke to the same alarm, the same pale light slipping through the blinds, the same cracked mug filled with coffee that had long lost its warmth. Every movement felt rehearsed, a routine without a heartbeat. He used to think this was normal. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. But lately, the silence between each day had started to feel heavier. He caught his reflection in the mirror, tired eyes, worn expression. Somewhere behind that reflection lived a version of him that dreamed bigger. He just didn't know where that person went. On the train ride, faces blurred by. Everyone looked the same, lost in screens, lost in thoughts. He wondered if they felt it too, the quiet emptiness of living small. That morning, he missed his stop. For the first time in years, something interrupted the pattern. He sat on a bench, confused, frustrated. And then, beside him, a boy drew a picture on a scrap of paper. "What are you making?" he asked. "My future," the boy said with a smile, a rocket flying above the clouds. He froze. When did he stop drawing rockets? When did he stop believing he could fly? That moment lingered, and deep down, something in him began to stir. Once he had dreams, wild, vibrant, unstoppable. He wanted to create, to build, to inspire. But time dulled the edges of those dreams. He chose safety, a stable job, predictable paychecks, a quiet life that promised comfort but delivered emptiness. He told himself he was being realistic. But realism became a disguise for fear. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of discovering that he wasn't enough. The days turned into months, the months into years. The fire dimmed until it was only smoke, and when people asked how he was, he smiled and said, "I'm fine." But fine was just another word for lost. Life has a way of testing those who stop moving. One day the company downsized, and he was let go. Just like that, the illusion of security vanished. He sat at his desk staring at the letter in disbelief. Years of service, gone with a sentence. He felt small, disposable, invisible. For weeks he wandered aimlessly, scrolling, sleeping, avoiding calls. He told himself it would pass, but the truth was, he had no idea who he was anymore. Then one evening, standing by his apartment window, he saw a plane cutting through the clouds, and it hit him. Everything around him kept moving forward, except him. Tears came, quiet and uninvited. Not because of what he lost, but because of what he'd never tried to gain. That night, he whispered to himself, "There has to be more than this." He started walking to clear his mind. In the park, he met an old man feeding pigeons. They spoke briefly about weather, life, and the strange way time slips away. The old man looked at him and said softly, "You look tired, but not from work, from not living." The words sank deep. He stayed silent. After a moment, the old man continued, "The mind is like these birds. Feed it small thoughts, it flies in circles. Feed it something bigger, it soars." He looked at the sky. The pigeons rose, scattering like gray clouds parting light. "Don't reset your goals," the man added. "Reset your mind." Something clicked. For the first time, he realized he didn't need to change the world to change his life. He just needed to change how he thought about it. He began small, woke earlier, wrote ideas, read again. But old habits didn't vanish. They fought back. Every morning, doubts whispered, "You're too late. You're not smart enough. Why bother?" But this time, he didn't listen. He had a new voice, quiet but firm. A belief that he could become more. He took risks, started projects that failed, made calls that went unanswered, but each failure taught him something new. He began to understand. Growth isn't loud. It's silent persistence. It's choosing progress over perfection. It's believing before results appear. The world didn't change overnight, but he did. Months later, he stood at that same train station, but this time he wasn't running. He moved with purpose, calm, focused, free. He caught his reflection in the glass door and smiled. There was light in his eyes again. He'd started a new venture, one built on passion, not fear. He was creating, connecting, inspiring. He wasn't chasing success anymore. He was becoming it. He remembered the boy's rocket drawing and realized he was finally building his own. The world hadn't suddenly opened up. He had. And because of that, everything looked different. He finally understood the secret. The world doesn't limit you. Your thinking does. When you think small, you see obstacles. When you think big, you see possibilities. Thinking big isn't arrogance. It's faith. Faith in what you can become. The moment you decide to dream again, the universe shifts to meet you halfway. He learned that it's not too late. It never was. You can reset your life at any moment, the instant you stop letting fear choose for you. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, don't just reach for your phone. Reach for a bigger thought, a dream that scares you, a vision that stretches who you are. Feed your mind something greater than doubt, because the moment you do, your life begins to rise, like that rocket breaking through the clouds. If this story touched you, pause, breathe. Write down one goal that feels impossible, and take one small step toward it today. That's how you reset your life. That's how you start thinking big again. And if you need a reminder along the way, come back to this story, because sometimes one story is enough to change everything. Soft fade-out music. Think big, start small, but start now. If this inspired you, share it with someone who needs it. And remember, subscribe not just to this channel, but to your own growth.